Okay. So you guys can see that fine? You guys can see
Yes.
it? It's all right. So the way I'm going to do this is kind of like next week. Just I'm going to have structures for how I present these worksheets to you guys. Uh, the This is going to be one of them. I'll be sending it to you guys as well. So what I want to be covering today is just how to kind of structure your life in a way where you're more organized. When you think about your life and you think about everything you need to do in your life and everything that there is in your life, it can get a little overwhelming, right? And so from what I learned about from Tony Robbins is that you want to chunk your life up. What is this? This is a whole process of chunking, right? So you're going to chunk your life up into different areas. So when you think about your life, you're not overwhelmed, right? And I've talked about these areas many times with you guys, all these different areas of your life. And so I, the way I kind of do is I break it up into these five areas. I do have more areas that I've broken it up to, and I'll give you some examples of the different areas that I have that I'm not referring to here. But you have to understand that I don't want to. I want to simplify this for you guys as much as I possibly can, so I'm not overwhelming you. You know, I don't want this sense of overwhelm for you guys because it is going to be a lot of information. Now, these five areas they're pretty general. They're not too specific. I think they're applicable to most anybody. And so these five areas I have spirituality, I have your personality and your character. And I'm going to go into these things more thoroughly. I'm going to kind of break it down for you guys in just a second. You have your health, your physical body, your relationships, and then number five is your finances slash your business slash career or whatever you want to call it. You can change these names. You're not stuck with using the names that I've chosen for these areas, right? If you want to call it something different, then call it something different. You know, but these are just the names that I've kind of came up with on my own, and this just kind of makes sense to me. And so this is how I kind of done it. Let me see, kind of okay, cool. So what I'm going to start with, so actually before I start explaining this, I'll give you my definition of stuff. And then what I do is I'm going to provide a separate worksheet that's going to look more like this. Let me change this so you guys can see this just a little better. Uh, So the worksheets I'll be providing for you guys, depending on whatever lessons we're going through, it's going to kind of look like this. It, you're going to have some instructions here or some questions maybe to kind of like stimulate your mind, and then you're going to have space for you guys to fill in what you believe these areas kind of how you define these areas for yourself, right? Because I'm giving you my definition. Now, if you want to use my definition, you're feel free to do so. But you're not obligated to. If you want to use my definition and just modify it to to like your standards or the way you kind of like understand it yourself, that's completely fine as well. There is no right or wrong way of doing this, okay? And I want to give you the freedom to be as creative as you possibly can for yourself, okay? Now, I understand that this might be something that's very new to you. You know, you probably never asked yourself these questions, right? You never really thought about these things. You never really thought about breaking your life up into these different areas and creating goals for these different areas and like pursuing these different areas in a way that's just more organized and structured for you. It may be very different. So you may not know what spirituality really means to you or what your health really means to you, right? But we're gonna help you with that. That's the whole point of this workshop is that I really want to jump into this, right? In a way where you guys start thinking like this. Thinking like this helps you, all right? Why does it help you? It helps clarify what life means to you. And if you can clearly understand what life means to you, this is a benefit, okay? This is not like This is not stupid or anything like that. This is a significant benefit for you because, for instance, this is spirituality as an example. If you never really thought about what spirituality means to you, but you have a definition of what spirituality kind of means, and maybe it's religion, maybe it's Christianity, maybe it has to do with something with Jesus Christ, or maybe you're a different religion. Maybe you're an atheist. I don't know. Maybe you believe in science. Science is your religion. So, but you never really thought about it and defined it yourself. What's happened here is that most likely the definition of spirituality that you currently have now has been defined by your environment. Your environment determined what spirituality means to you. You never actually consciously thought about what it means to you and defined it yourself. And this is what I'm trying to get you to do. All right. And so I'm going to have these two different worksheets, a worksheet or one worksheet that you fill out. The other one's more of an example of what I believe, right? How I've kind of like defined this for myself. And I wanted to share this with you. Why? Not to get you to believe what I believe, no, but to get you to see how you can structure or define these areas yourself. Okay. Like I said, there is no right or wrong way of doing this. There is just do it, right? And then the other thing about what this binder is going to allow you to do is as you evolve, as you grow, as you change, as you learn new information, and as you become exposed to more information, maybe about spirituality, you know what's going to happen? This definition of what spirituality means to you is going to change. It will change. It most definitely will change. Okay. I can guarantee that because you are going to change. Your beliefs are going to change. Your understanding of spirituality is going to change. It will evolve as you change, it will evolve as you evolve. And then what do? You just update it, bro. That's it. You go back to this sheet because it's gonna stay in your computer forever. Hopefully, you don't delete this stuff, and you just go in here and you fill this out again. It's that simple, and you update this in your binder. You take out the old one and you update it with the new information. This is why this binder is so powerful because it allows you to do this. Okay, because if you had it, for instance, in a notebook, you know those regular notebooks that just have a bunch of paper in it, and you write it all in there and you want to update something and you wrote everything in pen, not in pencil, you're gonna have to go in there and like tear out that page and then everything else didn't change, but that one thing did change. How can you put it, how can you replace that, right, with the new information? The binder allows you to do that. Okay. If you had a journal, one of those really nice leather journals that are really like good looking, nice, and it has like a like a string around it that you can tie or whatever, and it's really like fancy, and you write everything in there, and then something kind of changes with your belief system. You want to go in there and change it, you won't be able to change it. You know what I mean? Because it's because you can't just tear out that page and put a new one, but you can do it with a binder. This is why I've chosen the structure. Okay. So this is kind of like a breakdown of why I've done these things the way I do it. But so let's go ahead and hop into this. All right, let's go into this. I really want to like give you my definition of my understanding of these areas. Now, again, can you have more areas? Yes, you can, and I'll explain that to you during the workshop. You know what other areas you can add on there. But let's just start with the first one here. Okay, here we are. So my spirituality. So this is what I believe, right? So this refers to spiritual strength, connection to my creator, and understand the spiritual realm, right? So I have a very specific understanding of my reality. And this is very real to me. Okay. But again, your understanding of spirituality and your reality is very different than mine. So again, I'm not trying to get you to believe what I believe. I just want to share with you. So we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I don't believe we're these physical bodies. Okay. I believe we're energy. And I'm going to have a very powerful presentation about energy during the workshop and about what spirituality is and divine consciousness that I'm very excited for, that hopefully will give you a different perspective or understanding of what this means. Everything is energy. Even if you go into physics, even specifically quantum physics, these scientists understand that everything is energy. And I'm going to dive into that deeper during that presentation. Everything is love. So my understanding is that look, if everything is created from divine consciousness or from God, right? And God itself is pure love, pure spirit, pure energy, then everything that's been created from God is also love, also energy. This is my understanding of it. Everything is divine consciousness. So I'm saying the same thing. When I say everything is energy, everything is love, everything is divine consciousness, I'm saying the same thing, but I'm using different words. Yeah, they might have a slightly different meaning, but they literally mean the same thing. If energy is love, love is energy, and if divine consciousness is everything, and divine consciousness is love and energy, then everything is all these three things, right? At the same time, right? There is no real difference to it. Stand still and know that I am God. A this is a quote from the Bible, right? I've read this before and I thought it was a very powerful one. I wanted to put it in here. And this is what kind of it means to me when you kind of like meditate in the moment and you're living in the moment. I think what it means stand still, it means like think of God exists in the moment. Like us people, we're always either thinking about the past, what happened, or the future, what we want to do. And rarely do we ever just settle in the moment. And so when you stand still, your mind is still, you're here, and God is right here. Okay. You can see it when you're breathing, when you look at the mountains. It's a beautiful day today. The mountains are covered in snow. It's gorgeous, right? Like you start just being in the moment and you see the beauty of God, right? And know that I am God. And this is a very powerful I am statement. And it's not I think a lot of people are afraid of this statement. A lot of people are afraid to make this statement. I am God, right? Now, when you make this statement, you're not stating that you are the God and the God that controls and is omnipotent in everything, because you know you're not, it's not possible, right? Because you know you don't control everything around you, right? It's not possible. But you are an extension of God, right? If I am created from divine consciousness, that means that I am an extension of divine consciousness. And to make this claim isn't a false claim, right? And it isn't ego driven, in my opinion, right? If you understand if you understand it this way. So balance in energies and chakras, right? I've talked about the chakras. I talked about that we're energy, and you have to have this balance of your auras and your chakras and your energies in order to be balanced in your life. That's what it means to me. Practice meditation and astral projection. Meditation is a big part of my spirituality. I meditate. I like meditating. It calms my mind. It allows me to kind of control my thoughts. Our thoughts are always going all over the freaking place. And so you don't want it to do that, right? You want to be able to control your thoughts and center yourself. Meditation allows you to do that. There's astral projection. You guys can look up what that means. It really literally means that your spiritual self, it can astral project, meaning it can go into the astral realm and do that. I've never done it. I think I've gotten really close to doing it a couple of times, but I've never actually done it. Something I want to do, kind of excites me. And then you have open my crown chakra, my third eye chakra, and my heart chakra. So I really want to focus on opening these chakras for myself because opening these chakras allows me to these specific chakras allows me to connect closer to the to God, to divine consciousness. And then I am aligned with my intuition always, right? So these are just kind of like things, statements that I put in here that kind of like for me, they have a lot of meaning, right? And so this is how I kind of define spirituality for myself, right? Align with my intuition always. Your intuition I guess it's another way of saying your spiritual self. Like we've all experienced it where like you're gonna do something and then your intuition or something inside of you says, don't do that, right? Or you're gonna go in a specific direction and your intuition is like affirming, yes, go that direction, right? Or do this. And this is your intuition, and you want to be aligned with it. I think we've been conditioned in our culture to ignore our intuition or to not trust our intuition. Your intuition is there to guide you. This is like your spirit self talking to you, or think of it as this is God talking to you, telling you what to do, what not to do. And when you're really aligned with your intuition, especially always, then you're following this guidance, this deep guidance that's guiding you to something better. Now, this is my understanding of spirituality. I've kind of broken it down for you guys so you can kind of see it, because I know it's very different than maybe what you guys understand what spirituality means to you. Now, let's go to the next one here. Personality, my character. This is who I am as a person, right? I want to have a strong, loving personality and character. I want to be this type of person that I'm proud of being, you know? And not only that, I want to be the type of person that people like being around as well, right? People care about, people love, or people are drawn to. This is the type of person I really want to be. Now, what does that really mean to me? Well, I have I am statements, which we'll cover in the workshop. We'll have you guys create I am statements. I'll share my I am statements with you. It's a basically a whole sheet full of I am statements. And so, but what else does it mean to me? It says I control the qualities I possess. You ultimately control who you are, right? I know people say just say I am who I am and all this stuff. I get it, right? You've been this type of person for since you're a kid, but the truth is you're not the same person you were 5 years ago, right? If you really look at yourself and analyze yourself now, you're the same person. I am still Ricardo Novello, right? I'm not, just different identity, but who I am in personality and character has evolved from the Ricardo Novello that was 5 years ago, right? I'm not the same guy I was in high school. I was this teenager in high school that, would just do stupid shit with my friends. And although I was smart and I had ambitions, I was also kind of scared. I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with my life or what to do with my life. And so, am I still the same kid? Of course, I'm not. Am I still Ricardo Novello? Of course, but I've evolved since then. I'm not the same person, and this is true, right? And you can change your qualities, you can control the qualities that you possess. So what else does it mean to me? It means psychological strength. So what does psychological strength mean to me? It means that I have to have a balance of logic and a balance of my emotions. So we're both logical and emotional beings, okay? And you have to have a balance of two of the both. As a man, if I was always just emotional, never logical, I can be very destructive as a man. This is why you see school shootings. Who usually does the school shootings? And I know this is kind of an extreme example, but I think this is a good example. Men or boys usually do school shootings. Why is that? Because we can be very destructive with our energy if we're not balanced with our logic. Logically speaking, is it good to fucking kill a bunch of people? Of course it's not, right? But if I don't have a balance of logic and emotion within myself, I don't distinguish. I just go with whatever my emotions are. This is why for boys, it's very important to have them control their emotions because they can be very destructive in their actions, right? And this is, I know it's kind of an extreme example, but I have a son and I have to make sure that he controls the emotions. He gets mad and he wants to like hit something or break something or hit us. I'm like, and I have to correct that 100%, because if he doesn't control that as he gets older, who's he going to hit? Who's he going to attack? Right? If he just bursts in the emotions, you have to have logic. And what it means to me, psychological strength, is to have a balance of these two things: be logical and intelligent when necessary, be emotional and passionate when necessary. And yeah, I have to understand when I can be these things. Okay. What's the next one's emotional strength? What does that mean to me? Feel love always. Emotions based on fear are calls to action. Emotional strength is that when I am feeling emotional, what emotions do I really want to surrender to? I want to surrender to emotions based on love. Okay. Emotions based on fear, when I feel emotions based on fear, is not so much surrendering to the emotion, but I want to use it as a call to action. I'm going to go more into what this means in the workshops, because when I feel a negative emotion, I should stop for a moment and I should analyze myself as to why am I feeling what I'm feeling, right? What is this? Am I feeling anger? Am I feeling irritation? Am I feeling sadness? Am I feeling guilt? Right? What am I feeling? And why am I feeling this way? Where is it coming from? It's rooted to something, right? Something might have triggered it around me in my environment. What could that have been? Was it is it something that he said or she said, or I don't know, right? And I like doing this. This is me having emotional strength because I'm in control of my emotions. I'm not going to allow the environment to trigger me or to control how I feel, because in that case, I'm not in control. What's the next one? Mental strength, right? What does mental strength mean to me? The ability to control what I focus on. That's what it means to me. And then it goes into these three things right here: one, two, and three, right? So, what am I going to focus on is a good question to ask yourself. Or I control my thoughts. This is mental strength, right? I know it's kind of connected to everything else, but again, it's more defined. So, mental strength to me is that I have the ability to control what I focus on. So, a good question to ask is, hey, what am I going to focus on? All right, now I'm going to focus on doing my best to present this information to you guys, right? That's what I'm focusing on, right? I control my thoughts. What am I going to feel? I control my emotions. Like many times what you think about controls how you feel. And I've talked about this many times. But every time whatever you think about usually stimulates some type of emotion inside of you, right? Whatever that emotion is. You're in control. If you're able to control your thoughts, you're controlling your emotions, right? What am I going to feel? Right now, I want to just feel kind of passionate and excited to present this information to you because this information is incredibly powerful and incredibly useful. And then the final one, what am I going to do? I control my actions, right? These are the only three things you can control: your thoughts, emotions, and actions. And you have to understand that emotions drive actions. Emotions drive actions, right? Since I'm excited and passionate right now, I'm going to go ahead and execute with this presentation and do my best to present this information to you in a way that makes sense to you and that's logical, but more so where I have passion and excitement in my voice to hopefully stimulate passion and excitement within you, right? So this is what it means to have this is what it means to me to have that personality, right? That personality and that character, and having a strong personality and character that I want to have. Now, the next one here, the next one is number three, which is going to be my health and my physical body. I want to have explosive energy. I want to be fit. I want to have great overall health. This is important to me, right? I don't want to become one thing that drives me, and I have a whole presentation on health for you guys. One thing that drives me 100% is that I don't want to be that 60-year-old man that's in a wheelchair, or that 60-year-old man that's taking five or 10 different medications just to stay alive, but not really living. I've seen this, and it's absolutely horrific, and it's terrible, and it's scary for me. These 50, 60, 70-year-old men and women who are on medication, and literally just all they do is sit in front of a television all day. I've seen 50, 60, 70-year-old men and women who are fit, healthy. They have incredible bodies. They're living, their mind is strong. They're always analyzing stuff, like they're learning stuff all the time. I'm like, what's the difference between these two people? Like, why did one go this path and the other one go this path? All you really need to do is look at their lifestyle. Look at what they eat. Look at how they live their life. Look at how active or inactive they are. That's the difference. And they've been doing it for the prior 20, 30, 40 years, right? They didn't just start if you meet a 7-year-old man who's fit, healthy, strong, who's active and everything, he didn't just start doing that a week ago. No, he's been living life that way 20, 30 years, 40 years prior to that. And that's why he has the life that he has, the body that he has. And that's who I want to be. Like I already see myself. You know, they say that the first person that's going to live up to 150 years old is it already lives now. It already exists now, and I believe I'm that man. That's a quote from some show that I heard one day. I thought it was awesome. But you can live as long as you want to, and you can be as healthy and as young as you want to, as long as you know how to take care of your body. And this is very important. Okay. So what it means to me is there's power, energy, fitness, explosive energy, right? I want to have energy all the time, the strength, the speed, the endurance, alkaline and pure. I want to have an alkaline body and a pure body. I'll get more into what alkaline means when we get into that workshop. But this is what it means to me. This is what I want for myself. I could add a lot more to this. I want to live a long, healthy, fit life, whatever it is, right? Great, toss it in there. But this is what it means to me. I already know what I want with this, and it's very clear. And my motivations are strong. And it should be for you as well. Your health is very important. Like cancer and heart disease and diabetes are very common diseases these days, but they don't need to be common to you. Okay. You have control of that. You can change that. Even if you have it now, it's reversible. Just to let you know, it is reversible. No matter what the doctors tell you, they're wrong. And yeah, I get really passionate about this shit because it's because I've learned so much. The next one is my relationship. So my family. I'm committed to my wife, right? To my family, to love them. I'm committed to grow with them, committed to teach them, to learn from them, to guide them and protect them, and to provide for them. This is what it means to me because I'm specifically talking about my wife and my son. Like when it comes down to my brothers and my sisters and my cousins and my aunts and my uncles and all these people, like I don't really have much of an influence on their lives. I know that I don't because I live here in Colorado. Everybody else lives everywhere else. Like I don't really see them too often to have such an influence and an impact on their life. So I'm not too focused on the type of relationships I'm going to have with them. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have any friends really. It's like so, or friends that I talk to all the time or hang out with all the time. I have friends where I see them every now and then, but again, I don't have much of an impact on these people, right? So my goals on relationships, they're not really. I'm not really concerned with everybody else outside of my wife and my son. Okay, they're not. And so these relationships are specific, my personal relationships, my intimate relationships, these are the ones I'm referring to, right? Do I have professional relationships? Of course, I have professional relationships with every single one of you, and that's a slightly different. I can go ahead and create goals in that as well, but that kind of for that it's more specifically on section 5 for my business. Okay, that's where those relationships kind of fall in more. So I want to be incredibly passionate and loving and honest and a loyal husband to my wife, and I want to be a passionate, fun coach to my son. Okay, to as a father, and this is what kind of I'm defining for myself. So the next one, number 5. Um, Number 5 will be my finances, my business. Now you can separate these two. I just put them together because I'm not going to have more sections. I wanted to simplify this as much as I possibly can for you guys. But my finances are connected to my business, right? And so, but within my finances, I'm probably going to have more goal. I do have other goals such as investing and things like that that are not really connected to the business itself. Okay, so that's what I kind of mean. If you want to separate these two, it's completely fine. But right now, I'm just going to keep for simplicity reasons. I keep it together, right? And then for what does it mean to me? A lot. So we are incredibly wealthy. We are money magnets. We are wealth magnets. We are free to grow and create and contribute as a family. So I want to have enough money in my life where I'm free to grow, create, and contribute with my family, my wife and my son, specifically. That's what I want. I want to have incredible wealth. I want to be money magnets. I want I want money and wealth to be drawn to me, right? To come to me. Now, this still requires me to work and to learn and to grow with my finances and all that stuff, of course. But I want to feel like that's what I am. I'm this money magnet, right? We have a successful and prosperous business, right? My business, I want it to be successful, prosperous. There's more that goes into it, but like my goals and specifically in finances and business are going to specifically go into the goals section that we're going to be doing together. Okay. And so these are the 5 areas specifically that the way I've defined it. And when you guys are going to go ahead and write it yourself here, right? Once for the workshop next week, since this is a worksheet I'll be giving to you guys, right? I haven't sent these out yet, but I will, right? And then up here just gives you a couple. I give you set like questions to think about for each area to kind of stimulate your mind to think about. So you're gonna have the example that I gave you, so you can kind of look at and read and have that kind of stimulate you a little bit, stimulate your mind, or kind of give you an example of how you can like define these things. And you can use mine if you wanted to, right? If you want to copy and paste, go for it. But most likely you're going to copy and paste and modify it to your preference, which is 100% fine. Copy and paste it, modify it to your preference, and use it. Okay. The biggest thing here is just use it. And like I said before, this is most likely going to evolve over time. As you change over time, the definitions you've written here for these different areas of your life are going to also evolve and change. And then, like I said, in the binder, You could just go into the binder, go in there, and as you read this, my understanding of spirituality has changed. Let me update this. You go back to this worksheet, you fill it out again, and then you tear out the old one from the binder and replace it with the new one. You just updated your belief system, right? In a very like mechanical way where you can actually have it unfolder and everything. You just didn't do it in your own mind. You're doing it physically on a piece of paper. And then it's in the binder where you can continuously review the binder daily, hopefully, right? Where you're kind of reviewing your belief systems, reviewing you're reinforcing these belief systems within your subconscious. So you can live by this subconsciously, automatically. An autopilot, this is how you automatically are. Who you are, how you live, what you do. All right. So let me get even further into these areas, okay? Now, this thing here, let me close this. Okay. Let me kind of, here we go. All right, cool. So you have to understand that these areas of your life together create your overall current life conditions, okay? Together. Okay, here we go. So think of this part here as your current life conditions, right? And they're all determined by your spirituality, your health and physical body, your finances and business, your personality and your character, and your relationships. Okay. I have structured this in a very specific way. If you look at these cornerstones, your spirituality and your relationships, I put them on the cornerstones because they're probably, in my opinion, the most important. Now, if you don't feel like these are the most important, you can modify these to your preference. But this is how I've structured it, okay? Because these cornerstones carry most of the support of your overall life, okay? Of your overall life. This is your overall life at the top of the roof. And these columns here, as you can see them, uh, they're supporting this roof. They're supporting your life. Okay, as you can see them, they're all supporting, right? And then the way I kind of I've set this up was go up here, is that up here up here, this is your ideal life conditions, right? This is your ideal life conditions. And this is the growth you need in your spirituality to get there. This is the growth you need in your health to get there. This is the growth you need in your finances and your business to get there. This is the growth you need in your character and your personality. This is the growth you need in your relationships to get to this ideal conditions of your life. All right. This is the ideal life that you want. All right. It says right here, the progress you need to create your ideal life. It's from basically from here to here. Okay. Now, this is like a perfect depiction of if every area of your life is even. Like if you're like, say for instance, as you can see, spirituality, your health, your finances, your business, your personality, your character, your relationships, they're all about the same level of progress. You've progressed this much. But in reality, it does not look this way. Okay. In reality, you're maybe with your relationships, maybe you're here. Maybe you're struggling with your finances here. Maybe you're struggling with your health here. You've established a strong connection with your spirituality here, and your personality, your character. You've been developing it. It's probably right around here. So let me go ahead and show you more realistic depiction of this. Let me kind of delete all this really quick and get to the next page. So let's get to the next page, which is going to be right here. So down here, this is probably what it looks like right now for your life. This is probably what it looks like. So let's kind of review this so we all understand what it looks like. Here is your current life conditions, right? Here is your current life conditions. And I laugh because this is what most of us are going to look like, okay? It's not going to be an even growth in every single area of your life. Look at this one. This person here has this level of growth in their spirituality. Looks like this person here is really struggling with their health. Their finances aren't too good either. they've been developing their personality. They've been reading books and everything and developing their personality and working on personal development. So their personality is pretty strong. And it looks like they've been also working on their relationship. So their relationships and personality has been developing significantly. And then it looks like they might have just started like their spiritual development as well. But they've been ignoring their health. They've been ignoring their finances. And this is what it looks like, right? And so you're going to have to kind of be honest with yourself to determine where you are. Okay. And it's probably going to look something like this. I'm almost positive because to have everything even and perfect to look like this, most likely it's not realistic, you know? You could probably look like this after some time of really working on all these areas of your life, right? Maybe in a couple of years you'll get to this level, right? But it's okay. You can get to this level. And then now your ideal life, which is up here, here's your ideal life. My ideal life conditions are right here.
I'm
So
sorry, Rick. I
yeah,
can't see the screen. I don't know if it's me, the one that you're sharing.
can everybody else see it?
I can see.
I can see it too.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
sorry. So it's me. Let me check.
Let me I'll try this. Let me stop sharing really
Yes.
quick. I'm going to share again. Maybe that'll fix it for you, Zuma. But it looks
Okay,
like everybody
thanks.
else is
Yep.
seeing it.
Yeah, it's maybe. Okay, now I got it. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so going back to this. Now, if this is your current life conditions, if this is where you are spiritually, but this is where you want to be, say, idealistically, so this is the amount of growth you need for that. And then for your health, from down here all the way to here, that's the growth you need in your health to get to your ideal conditions. And then for your finances, from here all the way to there, that's the growth you need to get to your ideal conditions. This is the same from here to here. This will be with your personality and your character. And then for your relationships, it's going to be from here to here, right? So you can see that there's different levels of growth for each to get there, right? Now, that's that right there. This is more of a realistic depiction of what your current life conditions look like, and then where the growth you're really going to need to get to your ideal life conditions. Now, here's another one. Here's another scenario. Okay, so here's this person. This person has had a lot of growth in their finances and their business. They've been growing here a lot. You can see that, and then they looks like they have a really strong relationship. They probably are married and have are married with a spouse, and their relationship's going very well. Here we are, okay. But look, their personality hasn't been developing much. Their health hasn't been developing much, and their spirituality as well. This happens many times. What happens to a lot of people, sometimes they'll just focus on one or two areas of their life where they put all their energy, all their time, and they ignore the other areas of your life. I especially seen it especially when it comes down to health. Or sometimes like they focus so much on their business and finances that they also ignore their relationships. Okay. But look what happens here. Look at their current life conditions. Look, it's seemingly up here. I put seemingly because this is not accurate. It's not really true. It's not really up to this point because their spirituality is lacking, their health is lacking, and their personality and character is lacking. This is not sustainable. You cannot sustain this. This person eventually will reach a crisis in their life. The crisis may be with themselves, say with their personality, who they are as a person, with their health, or with what life really means to them at a spiritual level. And this crisis will cause their life conditions to come crumbling down. This is what happens. This is the result. It goes from where it was up here. This is where it was seemingly, this is where it seemingly was, their life conditions, and it came crumbling down. Okay? I've seen this happen to people, or I've heard this happen to people. Okay? Look, your life conditions is always going to end up going back to where the average is. Okay? were the averages. The average was more here, or maybe a little higher, maybe higher up here, right? It wasn't up here, and it comes crumbling down. It's called a cataclysmic event in your life, right? Where you have a reality check, and your life conditions really then begin to reflect what they really are, which is down here, right? And then what happens is that their finances really crumble and the relationships begin to struggle because of all the stress and all the stress that comes with like having difficulties in their business and having financial issues will inevitably affect their relationships, okay? Because their personality wasn't strong enough to support that relationship. You have to understand the reason I structured it this way, where I have it like this specifically, is because these things are connected. Look, your your personality, who you are as a person, is actually has a strong effect on how healthy your relationships are. If you're narcissistic and very greedy, and you want to have a very healthy relationship, good luck with that. It ain't gonna happen. Your relationships are screwed because if you're only focused on yourself and your relationships requires two people to work together in a very selfless way where they support and love each other and there's this back and forth, how can a person who's narcissistic and selfish be able to sustain such a relationship? It's not possible. What happened here most likely in this person's life, and then of course I'm speaking, theoretically, what happened most likely in this person's life, let me take out some of this stuff because I know it's all over the place. What happened most likely in this person's life, this person, let's say it was a he, right? He started really growing with his finances. And as a result, he was able to provide his spouse, his wife, with a lot of things, which really helped their relationships. And he felt really good and confident about his business and his finances, which that confidence and that love that he had for his business kind of reflected on his relationship, but his personality never developed. Like deeply, he was still selfish and narcissistic, right? But then, it was kind of like he had a mask going on because he was so confident and happy about his business that it reflected on his relationship. But in reality, that wasn't true. And since all this down here wasn't true, the second maybe he started having health issues that caused stress in his life, it started affecting his business, and as a result, it affected his relationships. And what ended up happening was this, that the relationship and his business or his finances came crumbling down to where it really was, right? Because the personality has a significant effect on the relationships. So does it have an effect on your finances, and it does, and it seemingly has an effect on your spirituality and your health. But what's interesting here is that the truth, your spirituality has more of an impact on everything else, on your health, not so much, maybe not so much on your health, but most definitely on your personality and on your relationships. Okay, the more spiritual you are, the you tend to be a better person, aren't you? The more spiritual you are, your relationships tend to be a little stronger because you have that spiritual aspect of your relationships there as well. Okay. Now, when it comes down to health, your health is very important because, you know, how effective are you in your relationship if you're diagnosed with cancer and you're pretty much stuck in a hospital being treated for this disease. If I was diagnosed with cancer and I was stuck in a hospital going through chemotherapy, radiation therapy, just destroying my body, how effective am I gonna be with my finances and my business? It's not possible for me to go out there and give it the best I possibly can in my business if my health is hindered, right? It's not possible. Same thing here. Same thing with my relationships. How can I be the most supportive and loving husband to my wife if I feel useless as a husband because I'm diagnosed with cancer, with this disease that has me stuck in a hospital and has me basically inactive or unable to act and take the actions necessary to be the best husband I possibly can by providing and by being able to support my spouse. It's not possible. Okay. This is why each and every one of these areas is equally as important. It's not like your finances are more important than your relationships, or your relationships are more important than your health, or your health is more important than your spirituality. They're all equal in importance. Because if you don't, this happens. Okay. That's again going back to this example. This person was killing it with their finances, and they had a pretty seemingly healthy relationship. They were happy because they had the financial freedom to do what they wanted, right? But maybe internally in that relationship, they didn't really have the emotional and mental support that was necessary. But both of them were kind of superficial. They were okay with it. But hey, the second that money goes away, bro, your relationship's going to go down too, because there is no real support and love there, is there? And that's why you get this, and this is just an example. A perfect example is Brandon. Brandon, at one point, he had a mortgage company that was making a shitload of money. He had a couple $1 million worth of real estate. This is all before 2008. 2008 hit, and it all came crumbling down. His finances were strong. I don't know where he was struggling in his life. I'm not sure where his health was, his spirituality was, his personality was. I don't know where his relationships were. But as a result, he didn't lose his marriage because he lost all his money. I think his relationships were actually still pretty strong and still healthy because his wife was committed to him, right? She wasn't just committed to his finances. But it did come crumbling down. It came crumbling down for this guy. He lost all that money. He was left with only $10,000 in the bank account at one point. He had to come to, he moved his entire family to Colorado, got his real estate license. He only had enough money to kind of take care of the first month's rent and all that stuff. And he needed to start making money fast. 10 years later, actually, this is 12 or 13 years later, here he is. He makes 7 figures a year. Okay. And now, just because this comes crumbling down doesn't mean you can't get back to get back up to your ideal life. It doesn't mean that you can't. If you approach, some people never recover. Okay. And I'm sure you maybe know some people. Some people never recover, but he recovered. He bounced back. Okay. The skills that he had about building a business were still inside of him. He still knew these skills. He could create a business fast and make it he created just as fast or even faster and make just as money or even more. But he also needed to start working on other areas of his life in order for him to really get to this ideal level of his life. Okay. And this is what happened to him. Now, let's get to the next section here, the last section. Okay, here's another example. Here's another example for you guys. Say, for instance, you I can personally relate to this one. Say, for instance, you work on your spirituality, you really work on your health, you really work on your personality, and you really work on your relationships, right? You're growing in all these areas, but your finances, you weren't really working too much on that. You didn't really know how to make money. And this happened to me. I started working on all these areas except my finances back when I was 19 years old, right? I really started working on my personality, my character when I was 19 years old. And I really started to understand at that age too, what does healthy really mean? What does that mean? What I really want with my body? Because I see these older people that are very unhealthy, and I saw other people who are just the same age and that were in great shape. I'm like, what's the difference? I started asking these questions, right? My spirituality, I've always been a very spiritual person. My relationship with God started when I was about, I don't know, when I was a teenager, right? I was raised a Catholic, but when I was a teenager, I started this little ritual where I go on the roof and I just think. I look at the stars and I think and I think and I think. I'd be analyzing stuff. I was a teenager, very confused. I didn't really know what to do because, being a teenager these days, especially how chaotic the world is very confusing. You get very confused of what you want to do, what you want to create. But that meditation up there allowed me to establish a connection at a spiritual level, right? And so, and then my relationships, I started as I was learning about personal development, I really started also learning about what a healthy relationship really is, right? So all these areas I was growing for like the past, like since I was 19, all the way up until I was about 36 years old when I started real estate, right? Real estate was the vehicle for me to really increase my finances. Prior to that, I was a tutor for years. I'd go to people's houses to tutor them. I wasn't making much money, but I was making enough. After that, I got into the entertainment industry where I was working as a background actor in Hollywood for a bit. I was trying to get into that industry until Fedra got pregnant, and I was like, okay, look, I need to take care of my wife. You know, she's gonna have a kid. She's working. She was making money at that time, and I was making some money, but not enough to be able to support both of us and a child. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna join the military. And this was at 30 years old. Okay. 6 years later, I was getting out of the military. I start working with real estate, and this is the vehicle for me to really explode. Within a year, I was able to make 4 times as much as I was making in the military within the first year. Okay. Why did that happen? The reason that happened was because my spirituality at that time was pretty strong. I knew what I believed at a spiritual level. My health was strong too. I didn't have any diseases. I didn't have any illnesses. I'd always take care of my body. I'd really watch what I eat. I'd exercise. My personality, I've been working on personal development since I was 19 years old. I really knew who I was at this time, by this time of my life. And then my relation with my wife, luckily it was healthy. It was good. We had a healthy relationship, you know? And we already had Bryson at this time. Dude, the second I had the vehicle to make money, I exploded. This is what happens when you work on all these areas of your life. If you're not, if you've been struggling financially, but you've been working on all these other areas, you can absolutely explode with your finances. Okay? Absolutely. All you need is a vehicle. Did I struggle? Absolutely. Was it hard? Absolutely. All real estate, I've had my challenges. I've struggled. I've gone through all that stuff. Especially it's more of a mental game than anything else, right? The stress and everything, managing the stress. But I overcame. I persevered. I continued. My first year, I made about $200,000, right? In the military, I was making about $50,000. So I multiplied it by 4, right? All within 1 year. And you can do this. This is possible for anybody if they understand this. This here gives you a structural understanding of your overall conditions of your life and how each of these areas support that condition of your life, right? And if you want to take it to the next level, such as this one, you're going from where you are here to where you want to be up here. You know how to get there. How? Continue your spiritual development, continue your development in your health and your physical body, continue your development in your business and your finances, continue your development with your personality and your character, and continue your development with your relationships. Personal development isn't something that you just work on that's specific to your personality. No, personal development is spiritual. Personal development has to do with your health and your physical bodies. Personal development has to do with your finances and your business. Personal development has to do with your personality and your character. And personal development also has to do with your relationships. Personal development is any type of growth in your life that improves the quality of your life. And this is how it looks like depicted in this amazing picture that I've drawn, that I hand drew all these things to kind of show you guys, and this is what it looks like. Okay. Hopefully this presentation, hopefully this depiction really provides you guys with an understanding of why it's important to do this. Okay. This is pretty much the end of the presentation. Any questions or comments before I let you guys continue with your day? It's about 10 a.m. right now.
Not really. It was really good. Thank you.
It just makes me more excited for next week. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you can hear the passion in your voice as you explain it, so that makes it even more powerful.
No, yes. Hey, that passion is necessary because if I presented this stuff with a monotone voice, you guys would be bored as fuck.
Oh yeah, I would have tuned out a long time ago.
No,
Plus,
I know.
That trajectory in your life from what you put into practice, so it's very easy to follow what you're, teaching. So thank you.
No, yeah, you're
Yeah.
very welcome.
plus the structure of your presentation show us, at least me, and I'm sure you guys too, show us our strength and what we need to work in, you know, more clearly, like you can see it clearly now. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yes. And that is important. You guys really want to know where your strengths are, where you are, you know, where you've been growing the most, and then where have you been ignoring, right? What areas have you been ignoring? Whether it's your health or spirituality, whatever areas it may be. Because you really need to grow in all of them to get to that ideal life that you really want for yourself, you know, and that you deserve too. You deserve this ideal life. We all do. And we all deserve to be happy as well. But, you know, happiness is something you really have to develop and earn in your own life and through progress. And so hopefully, yeah, hopefully these images really do help depict that. I recorded this. So for everybody else who I didn't get to see it, get to watch it, hopefully before we start the presentation or the workshop, I mean. So when you guys do get into the workshop, you already have an understanding of these areas because we're gonna jump into each of these areas thoroughly and establish goals for you guys individually in each of these areas. Okay, and so that's where it's going to be very exciting for next week because it's not so much focused on me; it's focused more on you and what you guys want, right? Any other questions or comments before I let you guys go?
No, all good.
Yeah, Rick, you said you were gonna send a list or what we need. I mean, I have pretty much what you said for the past weeks. But I'm just wondering if you send a list or something.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that. I'll be sending an email to you guys, and I'll also put it on the chat of the things you guys are going to want to have for next week, and then I'll have all the docs as well ready for you guys by next week too. So I'll email all these worksheets that I've kind of like showed you an example of. I'll send all that to you guys as well.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you guys are very welcome. If you guys need anything, I'll be available. Other than that, you guys have an awesome day.